extremely mobile, and the accent is on the cooperation of all arms, with men, vehicles and weapons integrated into battle groups and combat teams, organized to fight a mobile defense. The infantry are now carried in fast armored personnel carriers, giving them protection and mobility. In the Chieftain, we have the finest main battle tank in the world. Conceived years ahead of its time, its accuracy of fire is phenomenal. But to counter massive armored thrusts, the Army must have an anti-tank, anti-infantry and reconnaissance capability. For reconnaissance and skirmish work, there are fast wheeled and tracked vehicles. From the air, Army aviation can carry out spotting duties, reconnaissance, and casualty evacuation. To increase the effectiveness of reconnaissance and surveillance, there are electronic devices and aerial drones. The enemy armor has to be stopped. In addition to our tanks, the British anti-tank capability is good. Swingfire, a wire-guided missile, outranges any known tank and has its helicopter-launched counterpart. At closer range, the infantry anti-tank gun and the handheld missile launcher come into their own. Even the individual soldier has a disposable anti-tank missile for close ranges. And there's the new semi-automatic anti-tank weapon system, Milan. A medium-range line-of-sight weapon, it can be mounted on vehicles. But being man-portable, it's normally ground-mounted, where it's easier to conceal in forward areas. Simple to load and to operate, it's accurate and highly lethal against all known tanks, up to a range of 1,950 meters. At the same time, the artillery, using its missiles and medium and long-range guns under computer control, is destroying enemy infantry and neutralizing their gunfire support and reserve concentrations. In addition to the heavy guns, there's the new Lance missile. With its long range, it can give nuclear battlefield support up to 110 kilometers. Engineers create obstacles by demolition. They lay our own minefields and have giant Viper to breach the enemy's. The Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers carry out field repairs and recover stranded or damaged vehicles and equipment. Rapid deployment and resupply of forward troops is not forgotten, and there's a carefully planned backup supply system of men, equipment, and stores. The ground troops are vulnerable to air attack, and so surface-to-air defense systems are a part of the battle group's deployment. Rapier and blowpipe. All are linked together by a first-class communication system. In Germany, overseas, and in the United Kingdom. Although the first priority is support for NATO, the Army does have additional tasks. It must be prepared to help others and man our commitments in Cyprus and Hong Kong, with the help of the famous Gurkhas. Britain also has a massive task of internal security in Northern Ireland, which severely stretches army manpower, but shows the army's inherent versatility. To accomplish these tasks and man all equipment, the army has a constant requirement for high-class recruits, intelligent men from all walks of life, with an active interest in the many specialized branches of army service. When good men come forward, the army can handle them, train them to be fit, disciplined and skilled in the variety of weapons and equipment used by our modern army. This needs men of quality, not those who failed in civilian life. To command specialists requires experts, officers and NCOs. There's expert training for junior and senior NCOs, both on courses and in the field. For the junior officer, the RMA is Sandhurst, where he can gain his commission after direct entry from the ranks, school or university. Later in his career, he may attend the Staff College, Camberley, with its broader teaching of the concepts of tactics and campaign strategy. From here come the generals of the future. But whether a senior officer or a private soldier, each man has to be worth his salt and paid according to his responsibilities. A soldier may have only 6 months' service, but one slip on his part, one moment of forgetfulness, and his whole section could be at risk. So responsibilities, even at the lowest level, can be very high, a factor which his salary has to reflect. This sergeant not only has a £250,000 tank in his charge, but his actions could safeguard or endanger many men. In the Battle Group HQ, a major, second in command of a mechanized battalion, may have over 200 valuable vehicles and up to 800 men relying on his judgment. He's a specialist and an executive, and he deserves to be paid accordingly. Elsewhere, both at depots and in the field, other officers and NCOs are ensuring the timely and efficient distribution of combat supplies and equipment. In the Army, everyone is on call for 24 hours a day. And whether a private or an officer, they join with this knowledge. And the fact that soldiering means risk to life and limb if occasion demands. But there are compensations too. The facilities for sport in the Army are first class, both at home and overseas. Few civilian firms can match them. To develop leadership and foster the best qualities in a man's makeup, there are numerous adventure training expeditions for all ranks, usually organized by a unit officer, supported by generous industrial sponsors. There's not much of the world the Army doesn't reach in one way or another. It could be India, Canada, the Andes, Central America, or the Arctic. However, at the end of the day, the Army knows that its main commitment is to assist in preserving NATO's deterrent strategy